Hi everyone, Scott from ColourSpace here. I'm joined by the fantastic Britt Merrylees, and this is the part 3 of our 3-part series on encaustic art. In this final part, we're going to give you some tips and tricks for taking your encaustic art game to the next level. Britt, can you please tell us, what are some tips and tricks in creating encaustic art?
I would say one of the first ones that I really started to learn to work with was a heat gun. So this is obviously, again, another expensive item that you would probably need to purchase, or maybe if you know someone in construction or of a trade, they might have something that they can loan to you, or you could use a hairdryer, but the thing is it will probably heat out pretty quickly, and then you have to restart your power and go again. But this is really interesting way to work with wax. So obviously when you pour the wax, it does dry quite quickly. So having the access to a heat gun is a really good way if you're not happy with something or don't like how it's turned out or just purely want to experiment. It's a good way to work back into the wax and really just see what it does. It does actually require a lot of heat to start melting. I typically, when I hover over the heat gun, I work at 150 degrees and sometimes even go up to 250 degrees, depends how fast or impatient I get as to how I want the wax to move. But this really does actually create a different element to the work, and you'll actually notice that by using the heat gun, actually creates a lot more of a shiny effect. Unfortunately, in this painting, that's not something I've used, but you really, if you do work with it, will notice how it really gives the wax a glossy shine when you use the heat gun, which is kind of cool.
Is that you can actually use encaustic in different ways and incorporate it into other art styles as well.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that and what artists can do?
Yeah, sure. So obviously, as mentioned, this piece is solely made from wax, but a good way to sort of maybe get started or to touch your toes into working with wax is to really just sort of incorporate it maybe into your current style of paintings. So if you're a mixed media artist or you work with paint, it's a really good way to sort of add a second element of texture, or for mixed media, an extra element of media. The wax is really quite versatile in the sense that, like paint, you can splatter it or you can just, pour it on a section, and it doesn't have to be the sole focus of your painting.
Fantastic. So it sounds like it's you could create, say, almost like a regular canvas piece and be able to put a little bit of wax on top. Does that have any impact on if it's on canvas, because it's such a hot medium?
Yeah.
Are there any things that you might need to be careful of in terms of the canvas material?
If it's just a little bit of wax, it's going to be 100% okay, and especially if you are already putting it on top of paint, it'll be fine, or if you're putting it on top of materials or other fabrics, it'll be okay too.
What's something that you've learnt about working with encaustic art that you'd want to share with the other artists, that, or anyone who's dipping their toes, so maybe they don't either make the same mistake or maybe they don't sort of either injure or burn themselves a little bit? Yeah,
so setup is really important. That's something that's not to rush. If you're going to attempt a bigger painting like something like mine, or even just a small piece that you want to begin with and experiment, and you're solely going to create a piece out of wax like I do, you really need to be careful of your setup, and we did mention a lot of details about that in the part 2. But I would just say most of all is to just have fun with it. You've got to be really liberal in the way that you apply the wax, and so not to be scared of it.
Hopefully this has given you a few more ideas on how you can further expand your repertoire and sort of expand your artistic experience by going to encaustic art and just playing around with that. Strongly recommend that everyone check it out.
Yeah.
As always, if you'd like to find out a little bit more about Britt, where can we find you?
So really easy. All my handles are just Britt, obviously my first name, Merrylees, which is my surname, and then art. So Britt Merrylees Art, and that's for Instagram, Facebook, and my website is brittmerryleesart.com.
For anyone who is in Sydney and wants to give it a go and wants a more guided experience into encaustic art, please do check out the workshops. The details will be in the description below. Otherwise, I hope you really enjoyed this 3-part series on encaustic art. Britt, thank you so much for sharing your experience and sharing your insights. Yeah. And let's get creating.
Yeah.